It is a Monday morning. It is the day after a Browns loss. I am Dan Labbe. He is Chris Fedor. And this is our Monday Morning Browns show, the morning after. And today feels very morning after-ish.
Yes, that's the way to look at it.
A week and a half of playoff talk and being first place in the division, the Browns coming home. A crowd that couldn't wait to get there and make noise and see this team beat the Houston Texans, and the Browns come out, play flat. They lose 23-7 to the Houston Texans. Anything that could have gone wrong yesterday did go wrong. There's plenty of blame to spread around. You, of course, can jump down in the comments and talk about the game. You can call us 216-772-1373. We'll be here for the next half hour talking about the Browns. We're going to do game balls. We are going to do...
How are we going to do
I don't know, actually. Okay. I haven't thought about it.
We're going to try.
I only have two guys that I would maybe give game balls to.
You found two.
Two. We're going to do grades.
Okay.
Those are not going to be good.
Right.
And the Hoyer train.
Boy, the grades are going to be like me first semester of college.
Rough.
I didn't do a whole lot first semester of college.
Not going to class.
Oh, boy.
Not doing your reading or your home. Oh, it's bad news. Bad news. 23-7, the Browns losers to the Houston Texans. And, you know, it's not so much, obviously it's frustrating they lost that game. But Houston's a team that has a little bit of talent, at least on the defensive side of the ball. But it's things like, well, first of all, Brian Hoyer going 20 of 50.
Right.
It's things like Alfred Blue.
Yep.
It's things like 200 yards rushing with Arian Foster not even playing. All that, those sloppy things that we've seen before from this team that they seem to have moved past came back.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was to me, Dan. It's just how they played against Cincinnati on that Thursday night on the road, a huge stepping stone for the team. You're expecting them to build on that.
Yeah.
You're expecting them with the time off to recover. They got a ton of breaks going into the game yesterday because they had the time off. They were able to have Tashawn Gibson. So that was a huge break for the Browns. They were playing against a quarterback that was making his first ever NFL start. The last time he threw a meaningful pass in a meaningful game was the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl against Ohio State. And that was, what, 2012? So you get a break there. No Arian Foster. Arian Foster is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. Dan, Houston, before yesterday's game, since 2011, was 1-11 in games in which Arian Foster didn't play. That's how much he means to the offense. That's how much he has carried this team. They were getting a team that was going in the wrong direction. Houston started 3-1, but they were a disaster after that 3-1 start. So all the breaks that the Browns needed to get going into that game against Houston to build on the win against Cincinnati, they got, and they still wet themselves.
Yeah, you know, again, Alfred Blue, 156 rushing yards.
Can't happen.
And just for fun, Jonathan Grimes, another 54.
That can't happen. That can't happen. Alfred Blue had 26 yards in his previous 14 carries before playing the Browns. 14 carries, 26 yards. He plays against the Browns, and all of a sudden he turns into Walter Payton.
Yeah. And, you know, the other thing you had, too, is you had this contrast between Hoyer and Mallett, where Hoyer, I mean, let's face it, the Texans were bringing pressure all day. And the Browns, on the other hand, couldn't get to Ryan Mallett at all.
Yep.
And he just sat back there, completed 20 or 30 passes, running little comeback routes. They threw the ball down the field a couple times, but, I mean, it was a very short, simple passing game for Ryan Mallett. He had plenty of time.
Dan, I called it guaranteed win Sunday. I guaranteed a win. I said, wow, they've got Ryan Mallett making the start. They don't have Arian Foster. Their passing game is a mess. Their defense has one guy, really, one guy in J.J. Watt. The Browns just dominated the Cincinnati Bengals 9 days earlier. I mean, smacked them in the mouth. I said, this is guaranteed Sunday. The Browns are the better team. The Browns have so many things in their favor. And then what happens?
You clearly put the last 14 years of Browns football out of your mind.
I did, because
there are no
guarantees.
There are no guarantees ever with the Cleveland Browns. It doesn't matter who's coaching, who the general manager is, who the quarterback is, who's playing defense. There are no guarantees for the Cleveland Browns.
I still look back at yesterday's game and say, there is absolutely no reason that they should have lost that game.
Yeah, well, it reminded me a lot of the Jacksonville game.
Exactly.
Where the Browns were the better team,
Yep.
but they couldn't get anything going offensively.
Yep.
The defense somehow, despite giving up a ton of yards to a backup running back, kept them in the game for much of the game, and they could just never quite get over the hump.
Here's a big question, and we've talked about Mike Pettin and this coaching staff, and we've given them a lot of praise because they have been doing a lot of things right, and they don't have all of their cards that they want to have.
Yeah.
But how do you not have your team prepared? Seriously. That was a team that was not prepared to play the Houston Texans. And this is the second time, Dan. The last time they went on a bye, they came back, they went to Tennessee, they were not prepared.
I would say this is the third time, too. If you want to put that Pittsburgh game, the first Pittsburgh game.
It's a very good point.
Up there.
First game of the year.
Yeah.
Right. After you have all this time to get ready, come up with something, design something. The best the Browns looked, a short week. Why? That doesn't make any sense to me. If you have more time to get ready for this game, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready to play, and this team didn't look ready to play. That's on the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think the coaches had a very bad game yesterday. Again, the preparation is a concern. The fact that they threw the ball so much yesterday, why? Brian Hoyer is your quarterback.
Yes. Newsflash, in case you didn't realize that.
He threw 50 times yesterday. Yeah. And not only is Brian Hoyer your quarterback, but Andrew Hawkins and Taylor Gabriel are your two best receivers right now. Jordan Cameron's out. Josh Gordon finally coming back, but obviously he was out and has been out. And you're throwing the ball 50 times.
Here's another question. If we're talking about the coaching staff, and I got news for you, the coaching staff's not going to get a good grade when we start grading these guys. So Thursday night against Cincinnati, the Browns finally find their running game. We had been looking for the running game.
Yeah.
Against Jacksonville, it wasn't there. Against Tampa Bay, it wasn't there. Against Oakland, it really wasn't there. So they find it. Hooray! They finally find the running game on Thursday night against Cincinnati. And the rotation that night, Dan, was Terrence West first, Ben Tate second, Isaiah Crowell third. They find something that works. They go for 170 yards against the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're thinking, okay, well, they stumbled on something. They're going to continue this. They're going to use the same rotation the next week because if it's not broke, why try and fix it, right?
Exactly. No, you know what? Let's start Isaiah Crowell.
What was that? Dan, 30 minutes before kickoff, all of a sudden the Browns were starting to hear rumblings that it's going to be Isaiah Crowell. Wait a minute. You just ran for 170. You just found the running game that you were searching for 3 weeks. You had your best running game in the last month. And now is the time that you're going to change the rotation? Why not stick with Terrence West?
You know, I mean, I'll be honest. I think Isaiah Crowell, and I'll take the fumbles away, but I think Isaiah Crowell is probably the best running back on this team just as far as talent and explosiveness. But that being said, one, the fumbles, and two, Terrence West is a consistent back. You can count on Terrence West to get you 3.5, 4 yards a carry. You can turn and hand the ball off to him. He's going to be reliable. So, yeah, I don't quite understand the thinking behind suddenly deciding you're going to start Isaiah Crowell and give him the bulk of the carries. And, I mean, it wasn't even close. Crowell carried the ball 14 times.
Yep.
Terrence West, 5.
5. He ran for over 90 yards. He had 26 carries against Cincinnati in a game in which the Browns dominated that game against Cincinnati. Why did they dominate that game against Cincinnati? Because of the friggin' running game.
And they played great defense.
And now you're going to change the rotation? That makes no sense. See, you have to have some consistency. You have to reward Terrence West for a job well done. And again, I don't know what happens in practice, but to me, Dan, it's more important what these guys do in a game situation than in practice. And Mike Pettin even said it post-game yesterday. He said some of the things that we do in practice are not going to be a true indication of what's going to happen in the game. So then why did you take Terrence West out of that rotation?
It was bizarre. And, you know, the other thing, too, and I'm not the biggest Ben Tate fan in the world. I know you're not the biggest Ben Tate fan in the world, but don't you think Ben Tate merits more than 2 carries?
We're going to go back to the first thing that you said. I'm not the biggest Ben Tate fan in the world. We'll just leave it at that.
I guess, but I don't know.
I think, Dan, I think you have to earn carries.
Okay.
I don't think Ben Tate earned carries against Cincinnati. I don't think he's been good enough lately to earn those carries. And that's why I'm so disappointed about the whole Terrence West thing, because I think if you do have to earn carries, Terrence West earned those carries.
Yeah.
Ben Tate hasn't. Ben Tate continues to run in the back of his offensive lineman. I mean, it really does look like somebody slaps a blindfold on him before the game and just says, here, man, go. Try and find your way. Might have the worst vision of a running back I've seen ever.
The other thing, too, okay, and I'm not an offensive coordinator. I will never be an offensive coordinator. I do not have a great offensive mind. But I'm going to suggest maybe not consistently running the ball right at J.J. Watt.
Probably a good idea, Dan, yes.
That's probably not the play you want to continue to run over and over and over again.
There were so many baffling things yesterday, and so many of the baffling things were coaching.
Yeah.
And I thought that this coaching staff had it together and was starting to figure things out. And that whole Jacksonville thing, what happened against Jacksonville in the rearview mirror, and what happened against Tennessee in the rearview mirror, because they ran circles around the Cincinnati Bengals coaching staff on Thursday night. And here they're playing against the Houston Texans, and Romeo Crennel has answers for their offense. And Bill O'Brien, everything he was doing was great.
Yeah, it was, again, you hate to say that same old Browns thing, but it looked like the same old Browns. We've seen this over and over and over again since 1999 when this team has momentum. And we thought maybe they'd moved past this because it wasn't happening as much this year. They would get momentum and then they'd win a game, even if it was ugly. Yeah. And then they came out against Houston and did this.
Yeah, and nobody's sitting here saying that they should go to the Super Bowl or they should beat the Arizona Cardinals or one of these better teams in the NFL. Houston was playing again with a guy making his first ever start at quarterback and a running back who was not named Arian Foster.
Yeah.
Their best offensive player was watching from home, and they still controlled the ball offensively and did whatever they wanted to offensively. The defense has to take some of the blame here too.
Oh,
Dan.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the plays the defense made. You had the Joe Hayden interception. I mean, what else? What else did the defense do?
I don't have a lot, unfortunately.
Get run over? I don't know. Speaking of the...
Craig Robertson would have been in the right position had the official not gotten in his way.
I guess.
Step in the right direction.
And, I mean, it's going to get worse because now you're probably going to lose Carlos Dansby for a while.
Yeah.
Jabal Sheard is a guy who is having a pretty nice year. You might lose him for a little while. Your defensive line is already thin. You've lost Phil Taylor. You're running guys in like Billy Wynn and John Hughes, and it's going to get worse now. You're starting to kind of reach that breaking point on the defensive side of the ball with these injuries.
Yeah, it's frustrating too, and Dansby to me is the big one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Dansby is one of the leaders of that defense. He calls out the signals. He tries to put everybody in the right position, and I think the biggest spot where you're going to miss him is in coverage.
Yeah.
Look at what happened. When Dansby went out, Ryan Mallett, Bill O'Brien, alarm bells went off. They were like, alert, alert, alert. Craig Robertson's in there, or Robertson, excuse me. Craig Robertson is in there. Let's go at him. They got the tight end involved. They got the running back involved out of the backfield. That is something that has been a problem for the Browns the last couple of years is coverage from that particular position. And now if they don't have Dansby, it's just going to create a whole bunch of mismatches.
It was, I guess it was kind of Belichick-esque. You lose Dansby, and like you said, Bill O'Brien, the alarms just started going off, and he just decided he was going to keep pounding that one area of weakness until the Browns could stop it.
And guess what? Atlanta's going to try and do the same thing.
Exactly.
They watched the game. They saw that weakness, and if Dansby's not out there, Atlanta's just going to try and attack the middle there.
Game balls. I got to know if you can think of anybody. I'm going to give mine out first because I don't want you to take mine.
Okay, I think I have one.
All right, I hope it's the one I'm about to say.
Oh, this is going to be tough.
I hope it's the one I'm about to say. The punter, Spencer Lanning.
You jerk.
Getting a game ball.
I can't believe you took my MVP. I even tweeted that yesterday. I said
Spencer
Lanning is the MVP of this team right now.
That's it. That's Spencer Lanning has to get a game ball.
That... You know what? Now I got to really wreck.
All right, Amsterdam is saying Joe Hayden, I guess for the interception.
No, that's not happening. The defense is not getting a game ball yesterday.
K'Wan Williams was okay.
Stop it. You're still talking about the defense. See, Lanning was going to get mine just because The snap was so high. My man booked it like a running back.
That was amazing.
Somehow he picked up the ball. Somehow he punted it away with his right foot, and he got like 40 yards of distance on that thing. And at the time, Dan, I was thinking, wow, that might have saved the game for the Browns. That might have.
It might have. He also the other thing he did, he gets a game ball for this, is the first roughing the kicker penalty as he walks by J.J. Watt. Give him a little pat on the helmet. How about this guy?
So you know how you have Twitter trolls?
Yeah.
Spencer Lanning is a real-life Twitter troll. He really is. In the game, he gets kicked in the face.
He's actually a Twitter troll on Twitter, too, because he said something about a Bengals player last week, too.
So game 1, he gets crane kicked in the face, Daniel LaRusso style, and he just goes to Twitter, and he makes fun of himself. And then after the game, he makes fun of himself.
Yeah.
And then in the game yesterday, like you said, he pats J.J. Watt on the head. He's like, oh, way to go, buddy. And then if you remember, after the Cincinnati game, he said, what's a Jeremy Hill?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Exactly.
Jeremy Hill says, well, the Browns aren't that good. He goes on Twitter, and he's like, what's a Jeremy Hill? This guy is awesome. He was going to get my game ball. I've got another one.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I found
Look at
one.
you.
I have no idea how I found one.
All right.
But I did. I remember thinking yesterday, after he made a play on third down, I said, wow, this team's losing. They're behind. They've gotten nothing going on offense today. They've gotten run all over. And my man is still fighting for every single inch of his 5'7" frame.
Oh,
Taylor Gabriel.
I like where you're going with this.
Taylor Gabriel. Because that was a terrible pass by Brian Hoyer. It was 4 yards shy of the first down. My man put his shoulder down. He's 5'7". So many people are saying, oh, he's too little. Brian Hoyer doesn't have these weapons. This dude's 5'7", puts his shoulder into the defender, and then stretches for the first down.
Twice yesterday.
And he got the first down.
Twice yesterday he made big effort plays to get a first down. Taylor Gabriel was a really nice find.
And who made the catch after Brian Hoyer got decked, picked himself up off the turf? Who made the catch? Taylor Gabriel. He gets open. He catches everything when it's actually thrown on target. He gets every ounce of talent out of the body.
Him and Andrew Hawkins this year have been a revelation for this team.
That's right.
Miles Austin looked like a guy yesterday who's about to lose reps to Josh Gordon. But Andrew Hawkins and Taylor Gabriel have been fantastic.
Yes.
And you know what? Travis Benjamin, too. Every game he makes some kind of wild catch.
On offense.
Well, I'm not talking about special teams. Okay. We're just going to pretend that punt returning is not.
There's wide receiver Travis Benjamin.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's special
two different people.
It's kind of like Two-Face in Batman.
What happened to that guy?
To Two-Face?
Well, to Two-Face, and also to Travis Benjamin.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, he was a good punt returner.
That's why he came in
for a little while.
That's why he came into the league. A lot of people said, well, we don't know what he's going to be as a wide receiver, but he's got a ton of speed. We'll put him on special teams. He'll return some kicks.
Exactly.
He'll return some punts.
He'll be the next Josh Cribbs.
That's right. That's absolutely right. No.
Now he can't even.
Do you have another game ball?
No, I got
You
nothing.
said you had two.
Did I?
I swear you said you had two.
I don't know. No.
You don't have another one?
No. If I did, I blocked it out of my mind.
Billy Cundiff?
No.
What was
Billy Cundiff. Billy Cundiff gave a game ball to a fan yesterday.
How in the world did that kick miss by that much? Was it windy there? You were there.
I didn't go down on the field at all yesterday, but it didn't seem like it was that windy. Just kind of looking at the goalposts, the flags. It was much windier in Cincinnati than it was yesterday.
I'm really trying to think of another game ball here.
I don't know if there is one.
Man, they have to have some in the comments section. You have any in the comments section?
You got Taylor Gabriel in there.
Taylor Gabriel, there we go.
A lot of Taylor Gabriel. Like I said, there was a suggestion for Joe Hayden.
Can't see that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there's really another game ball to give out when you lose 23-7.
Yeah, probably not.
To the Houston Texans.
Hawkins?
And you got to get, I guess,
he had the only
if
touchdown.
if you have to give one away.
He had the only touchdown. He seems to get open.
97 yards receiving.
Yeah, all right.
I guess.
The two wide receivers.
All right.
But Brian Hoyer's wide receivers stink, by the way. People will tell you that. See, here's the thing this is what has happened with the wide receivers. We got it in our head at the beginning of the year, and I think rightfully so, that there were a lot of questions with the position. We didn't know what we were going to have. But we never changed that perception based on the reality of what was in front of us.
Yeah.
And the reality is these guys have been really good. And these guys have been getting open. But all anybody wants to point to is that they're 5'6" and 5'7". And they're overlooking the fact that they're running wide open in this scheme.
They really are.
And they're catching almost everything that's thrown to them. So I think we have to take it out of our heads that Brian Hoyer doesn't have any weapons in the passing game. Maybe that was a question at the beginning of the year, and maybe he didn't at the beginning of the year. But guys emerge all the time.
Yeah, the receivers and Gary Barnidge and Jim Dre have stepped up in the absence of Jordan Cameron.
That's right.
You're getting Josh Gordon back.
That's right.
At least you can feel good about that.
It was a long time ago when the Browns had the worst group of wide receivers in the NFL. That was a long, long time ago. I think we have to get that out of our heads.
Yeah, it's not even a question anymore, this receiving group. I think you trust this receiving group now.
That's right.
When we're talking about Travis Benjamin being a reliable wide receiver, I think you can trust this receiving core.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to grab something over here.
Oh, boy.
Stay right there. Here we go.
Oh, boy. Well.
It's this time. Our guy Hoyer.
Dude.
Oh, man, look at him.
What's happening?
Look at him sitting up there.
There he is.
All right, so we got some additions to make here to the Hoyer train.
This is going to be good.
First of all, reportedly, we got Bill O'Brien up here. Reportedly.
That's true.
This is B. O'Brien. Okay.
Just put B.O.B., but that's
I could have.
okay.
Reportedly really likes Brian Hoyer, although
that's right.
he was at the stadium yesterday too. So I think Bill O'Brien is kind of going this way because Ryan Mallett, he's feeling good.
Right.
Up here we also have our guy Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders.
Hanging out with
Right.
Joe Linta.
Yep.
Saying pay the man. So this is Deion. We're gonna stick a 21 right there. Not Justin Gilbert. It's Deion Sanders.
Okay.
We got is this Johnny?
Is
down
that
here?
Linta down here? How
I
did
think this is
Linta get
you.
there?
No, this is you calling an Uber.
Oh yeah, that's me with the Uber. I'm looking
So
for
Fedor's
some
been
other
looking for an
transportation.
Uber, and I don't know if he's been getting the ride canceled message or I don't know, but he's still standing down here.
That's Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny's hanging out down here still.
you.
This is me, kind of just got off the train.
That's a frog, I guess. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so there's this.
There.
It's a very empty train now, with Bill O'Brien moving back.
Well, you forgot one. Who else is at the front? Ken Wisenhunt.
Ken Wisenhunt.
Reports say that Wisenhunt, who was with Brian Hoyer in Arizona, has
good
some
call.
interest in Brian Hoyer because, of course, his quarterback is Charlie Whitehurst.
Yeah, that's a good call. So we're gonna put Kenny right there. We're not gonna remember who any of these people are.
Very little. He is very, very talented.
And I think if any coach out there would be willing to pay Brian Hoyer $100 million, it might just be Ken Wisenhunt.
That's probably true.
No. So, Uber. Are you on your Uber?
Oh, my goodness.
Have you disappeared off the board?
Yeah, I need a new board.
Are you and Johnny riding around in a Ford
Here's the real
Escort with some
question.
guy?
Here's the real question. Where is this train going? Because if the destination is playoffs, my guess is Brian Hoyer is going to overshoot that mark by about 10 yards.
We haven't actually figured out where the train is headed. So,
Chances are this train is not going to get to its spot accurately. 40% yesterday, folks. 40. He threw 50 times. He completed 20 of those passes. And let's just say that Miles catches one of those, and Miles catches another one, and maybe another guy catches another one. All right, so he's up to 48%. You really feel better about that because if a couple of guys would have caught a couple of more passes, then he was 24 for 50 instead of 20 for 50. Boy, Brian Hoyer he's the same guy that he was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
He's the same guy. And it's just everything, like I've been saying, Dan, everything has to be perfect around him for him to function. And look, a lot of quarterbacks, they like to have a running game. They like to have an offensive line in front of them. But I don't think there's another quarterback in the NFL more reliant on the running game than Brian. I think you need an overcomer here, folks. If this train is supposed to take you to the top of the AFC North, it's just not going to go here with this guy. That's the bottom line. I'm not saying go to Johnny Manziel right now. I'm not saying that. I don't think you can just give a guy one bad game and take him out, or a couple of bad throws and take him out. But if the conversation is about this train taking the Browns to where they want to get to long term, I don't think he can be the conductor. That's the problem that I have. That's the problem that I've had from day one. You can't wet yourself when you don't have a running game. You can't, because a running game is going to be taken away, Dan, because wide receivers are going to drop passes. Every quarterback deals with drops. Every quarterback deals with a lack of a running game. Every quarterback deals with pressure. You have to handle those things better. I need an overcomer. I need somebody who can just go out and make a play when not everything's perfect. I don't have that guy, so I don't know where I am. Give me another train.
Another train?
Give me another train.
I can't draw another train.
Another train with anybody, Johnny Manziel on it in the future, or somebody else. Dan, I can't put myself any further away from this thing. Like, I'll go up here.
That's even, I think that's even off the screen up there.
All right, I'll go. Is this still on the screen? I'm up here.
You're flying. Well, flying is a much more efficient.
No, because I feel like it goes this way.
It's an efficient way of traveling anyway.
See, it goes that way.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm as far away from this train as possible, and I got news for you. You can ask me every single week, Chris, are you ready to get on the platform? Are you ready to get on the train? If you're having this conversation on a weekly basis, and we're having this conversation on a weekly basis, you don't have the guy. It can't be, well, yep, I'm on the train. No, I'm off the train. Back on the train. Back off the train. Back on the train. Because those are all the answers that you need.
I am going to stay here with Johnny, me and him,
Why?
hanging out near the drink car.
Hanging out in Las Vegas on bye week?
This is where Johnny and I are.
Bye?
Yeah, exactly. This is where Johnny and I are hanging. I'm just going wherever Johnny goes.
Look at me. Hi.
All right.
Hello.
So there you have it. So just to recap, Fedor's up there. Bill O'Brien is up there.
Yep.
Sliding backwards. Ken Wisenhunt.
Tiny Ken.
All in.
Tiny Ken Wisenhunt.
Deion Sanders and Joe Linta hanging out up in the front. That's what 20 of 50 will get you.
20 of 50.
Yikes.
Folks. 20 of 50.
All right. Real quick. Grades. Coaches.
F.
Yeah.
The team was not prepared. They switched from a running back rotation that worked extremely well against Cincinnati. F. Absolute F.
Let's go offensive line.
I actually didn't think the offensive line was terrible.
They weren't. Mitchell Schwartz got a little spooked by J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt's going to do that to a lot of guys. Joe Thomas is still the best offensive lineman in the game. He didn't give up pressure. He owned J.J. Watt the few times that he went up against J.J. Dan, I think there are a lot of things wrong with the team, or there were a lot of things wrong with the team yesterday against the Texans. I don't put the offensive line very high. To me, that was an average performance. I'll give him a C+.
Let's go with the secondary.
Well, they didn't throw a ton.
No.
At the same time, Hopkins made some big plays at critical times. Obviously, Garrett Graham made that touchdown catch at a critical time. Andre Johnson made some big catches at critical times. But again, I don't think they had a terrible afternoon. Joe Hayden had that really nice interception. I thought K'Wan Williams had that really great play in the corner.
Getting better.
Front corner of the end zone to knock that ball away. I'll give the secondary a B-. I
think that's fair. I wonder if it was a coaching thing. It just seemed like they were playing really soft on Houston's wide receivers, and it was allowing Ryan Mallett to complete a lot of passes.
Deep ball.
Yeah,
deep ball
exactly.
Arm. I mean, they knew Ryan Mallett had a strength going into that game, and they didn't want their guys to be beat.
Which is interesting because one of the things they said all week is nothing really changes with Ryan Mallett. He's just got a bigger arm. A lot of guys said that Houston's not going to change their offense completely just because Ryan Mallett is in there, but it seems like what actually happened on the field didn't reflect that. Yep. But yeah, I think that's a fair grade. And then let's go with the front seven.
Front seven got no pressure at all.
Yeah.
Houston's got one of the worst offensive lines in the game. I watch Houston a lot. I've got Aaron Foster on my fantasy team. And there have been so many times this year, Dan, Ryan Fitzpatrick has just been running for his life. Now, part of it is Fitzpatrick holds on to the ball too long. Mallett got the ball out quickly, so that negated some of the Browns' pressure. but the front seven is part of stopping the run. And look, this is the truth. Denard Robinson had a career day when Jacksonville had a lot of questions in the running game. Lorenzo Taliaferro has not had a day like the one that he had against the Browns. And now Alfred Blue, I can tell you right now, Alfred Blue is not going to have another day like this for the rest of the season. He's not, because he's not all that talented. And that's on the front seven. The lack of pressure on Ryan Mallett on the front seven, that's an F.
I'm with you on that because I think you had to get pressure on Ryan Mallett. That was the one thing you had to do. Because what do we know about Ryan Mallett? He's got a big arm, and he can't move.
The two things that they had to do to win the game. They had to get pressure on Ryan Mallett to force him in mistakes. And they had to negate the running game for the Houston Texans to put the ball in the hands of Ryan Mallett, the way that the Browns took away the running game against Cincinnati, put the ball in the hands of Andy Dalton. They didn't do either of those things.
Exactly.
That's an F, and you can sit there and you can say what you want to about Phil Taylor missing. Phil Taylor was a big loss. Arian Foster was a bigger loss for Houston. Houston overcame their loss a little bit better than the Browns did.
All right, Browns losers 23-7 to Houston. They travel to Atlanta on Sunday to play the division-leading Atlanta Falcons, who are 4-6.
Here's the amazing thing: you can beat Atlanta. You can.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're
a 4-6 football team, but you can also lose to Atlanta too.
I just think some of the things that Atlanta does well, the Browns have an answer for, and the things that Atlanta doesn't do well, they don't have a great offensive line. They don't have that tough physical defense like Houston. I think the Browns can exploit some of those things, provided the coaching staff does a better job preparing this team for Atlanta.
All right, that'll do it for another Monday morning after the Browns losers to Houston, 23-7.
This was
no longer in first place in the AFC North and back to kind of trying to chase the playoffs. We'll see what happens in Atlanta, and we will talk about it next Monday morning. For Chris Fedor, I'm Dan Labbe.